It's been 38 years. In that time, the Hanshin Tigers have won 2 Central League pennants, have had teams upon teams of great players, and have played on a hallowed ground that means so much to so many people. Koshien Stadium has been magical for the high schoolers who've played their best upon it all those years, but it's known nothing but heartbreak in professional action. That is, until 2023. Every fan of the game in Japan knows the story. 1985, a raucous party after a series victory that won the Hanshin Tigers the Central League pennant. Osaka erupts in celebration. The cheer songs of the Tigers rang out in the streets, and with each member of the batting order, a player look-alike drunkenly launches himself into the Dotonbori Canal. When no doppelganger for American slugger Randy Bass was found, the crowd decided to have a Colonel Sanders statue fill in for him, one stolen from a nearby Kentucky Fried Chicken. The statue plummeted into the canal, and with it, even after their Japan Series victory a week later, the Tigers' chances of winning a title ever again. Years went by and the story spread. Osaka residents slowly but surely reassembled the statue piece by piece until it was fully repaired in 2021. Safely stored in Kentucky Fried Chicken HQ, and only viewable by special permission from company brass, it was up to the Tigers to prove they were really no longer cursed, and could at last bring an end to their fans' heartbreak. Countless man-hours, sleepless nights, and even the unfortunate loss of a life belonging to a fan who perished looking for the statue compounded the heartbreak. It all changed in 2023. The Tigers made it to the Japan Series again for the first time since their 2014 defeat to the SoftBank Hawks. This is the story of that series, one of the best in recent memory. Osaka was in a frenzy. Loyal Tigers fans were ecstatic. They had a real chance at glory with one of the best teams in recent memory, a 3-headed monster in the rotation. Established stars Koyo Aoyagi, Yuki Nishi, and the young ace of the staff, Shoki Murakami, who won 10 games and pitched to a league-best 1.75 ERA in the 2023 season. On the offensive side, the hitters took clutch to a new level. Great contact hitting, stellar base running, and an unmatched team average with runners in scoring position. The team's 2 predominant speedsters, center fielder Koji Chikamoto and shortstop Takumu Nakano, chipped in with 28 and 20 stolen bases respectively, with Chikamoto having a career offensive year, adding 8 home runs, 12 triples, and 24 doubles on 143 hits for a total of 215 bases. Alongside him were the 2 corner infielders, Yusuke Oyama, who hit .288 with a .403 on-base percentage, batting in 78 runs and totaling 234 bases, and the team's home run champ, who batted in 92 runs, mostly thanks to 24 long balls, Teruaki Sato. They faced the Hiroshima Carp for the Central League pennant, sweeping them under the rug and prepared for the biggest series of their lives. It was the best Hanshin team in recent memory, but even they had come up short in the fashion of the team's legacy, falling to the Giants in 2022 and suffering a monumental collapse down the stretch in 2021. However, things were different this year. It felt different from the off, largely thanks to the 26th man on their roster. Shintaro Yokota was a gifted young outfielder drafted by the Tigers in 2013. He had a great eye, a lot of strength, and stellar speed, earning the nickname Itoi Jr., thanks to his similar profile to all-star outfielder Yoshio Itoi. He tore through the minors and debuted for the big team very, very soon in his young career. He was steady and impressive in limited action, where it seemed likely he'd start the year in the majors in 2017. But some strange headaches slowed him down during spring training, and when he finally got them checked out, the news wasn't good. He was soon diagnosed with brain cancer. Yokota did everything he could to return to baseball, and after 6 months of what seemed to be successful treatment, He came back to the field in September of that year. He wasn't the same. The treatment's side effects were too severe. He could hardly see, and whenever he returned to the field, it never lasted. And with the disease's persistence, Shintaro Yokota was forced into an early retirement in the 2019 season. As if this pain needed more amplification, in his final appearance during a minor league exhibition game, he fired a strike to home plate from dead center field to end his career, notching a game-saving outfield assist that prevented a run. More tumors made themselves known as treatment wore on, and eventually, the pain became too much. Yokota succumbed to the disease midway through the 2023 season, on July 18th of this year. This tragic event was felt throughout the baseball world, but perhaps by none more than the men he had shared the field with. Shintaro Fujinami, former Tigers hurler now in MLB, heard the news as he took the mound against the Boston Red Sox. He dedicated the inning he pitched to his friend and shut down the 3 hitters he faced. Outfielder Shun Takayama, catcher Seishiro Sakamoto, and closer Suguru Iwazaki all knew Yokota intimately throughout their time in the organization, and all 3 were on the 2023 team that won the Central League pennant, bearing Yokota's number 24 onto the field during the celebrations. As if the occasion needed more added to it, their opponents sealed a week and a half of near doom for Osaka public officials. It would be the defending Japan Series champs, the Orix Buffaloes. The Buffaloes were without a few of their key pieces from their championship run the previous year, but they were very far from being an easy mark. Only a half game separated the Tigers and Buffaloes in overall records in the 2023 season. Returning stars Yutaro Sugimoto, Kotaro Kurebayashi, Keita Nakagawa, and Yuma Mune carried their share of the weight, but free agent signing Tomoya Mori, coming over from their Pacific League rivals, the Cebu Lions, hit .294 with 24 doubles and 18 home runs. And young catcher Yuma Tongu came from nowhere to hit .307 with a .378 on-base percentage, 17 home runs, and 23 doubles to win the Pacific League batting title. The Buffaloes shone brightest in their rotation, though. There was hardly a bad pitcher in their ranks. Hiroyo Miyagi won 10 games, Sachio Yamazaki 11, Shunpeita Yamashita 9, ageless closer Yoshihisa Hirano saved 29 games and pitched to a 1.13 ERA. And of course, there was their ace, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who was seemingly displeased by the apparent loss of his title of best pitcher in Japan to Roki Sasaki last year. He decided to forcibly take that title back in 2023, winning 16 games, pitching to a 1.29 ERA, including 2 complete games, one of which was his second career no-hitter in what has been, ostensibly, his final year in a Buffaloes uniform. The Buffaloes met the Marines in the League Championship Series, losing only 1 game on the way to their chance to repeat as Japan Series winners, the first Pacific League team to repeat since the Hawks' run of dominance in the 2010s. The stage for the Battle of Osaka was set. If you are enjoying the video, please be sure to like and subscribe below the video screen to be notified every single time we upload a new video here on the Global Baseball Network. We've really got some exciting projects coming your way very, very soon, and you don't want to miss them. And if you like it as well, please leave a comment down below the video as well. Just lets me know how well I'm doing bringing all of this content to you. Now, enjoy all 7 of the spectacular games of the 2023 Japan Series. Game 1 began with a battle of the aces at Kyocera Dome. Shoki Murakami versus Yoshinobu Yamamoto. The heavyweights dueled for 4 straight innings, with neither showing any weakness at all. The 5th inning began, and the first to blink was Yamamoto, surrendering a single off the bat of Teruaki Sato. Sato, seeking to make something happen on the next at-bat, was off with a pitch. He stayed focused and took third on a flyout to right. Reserve outfielder Ryo Watanabe shook the dome for the first time, singling behind the infield to plate Hanshin's first run of the young series. After Seiya Kinami reached with an opportunity to break open Game 1, the man who every Tigers fan wanted to see stepped into the box. Up came Koji Chikamoto. Staring down the best pitcher in Japan, Koji delivered the biggest hit of his career. To that point, that is. Takemu Nakano knocked in Chikamoto one batter later with another RBI single to keep the rally alive. Later, Mori tried to give the Buffaloes a jolt with a leadoff double to begin the bottom of the fifth, but nothing came of it. And as the sixth began, the Tigers knocked out Yamamoto with a two-run Seiya Kinami single and another hit by Seishiro Sakamoto. Sakamoto scored on a Nakano single to put a 3-spot up in the sixth before notching one more in the ninth to put a bow on the Game 1 blowout. Murakami limited the Buffaloes' offense to no runs on 2 hits with 7 strong innings of work. Game 1 went to the Tigers, 8-0. Same time, same channel, same field for Game 2. But this time, it would be the Buffaloes who landed a nasty haymaker on their opponents. Left-hander Hiroya Miyagi took the mound to avenge his defeated ace and would square off against Hanshin's number 2, Yuki Nishi. 2.5 innings passed without trouble for either side. That is, until journeyman infielder Taishi Hiraoka stepped in. Vindication for the young man who, after languishing as a backup in the Giants and Swallows organizations, notched a huge hit in the Japan series. But for another veteran role player, 33-year-old Masahiro Nishino, his moment was even bigger. An RBI triple to open the scoring for Orix. Nishi was able to limit the damage to 1 and end the third, but a costly walk to go along with 4 straight singles chased him from the game after 3 2/3 innings. Meanwhile, Miyagi spun a gem. 6 scoreless with only 4 hits and just 1 walk. Normally reliable Tigers relievers Jeremy Beasley and Hidetaka Okadome loaded the bases again in the 7th, and their performances faded Hanshin's misery to continue that night, as foreign slugger Marwin Gonzalez stepped up to the plate. An error in the 8th put a button on Orix's night of triumph and sent the series over to Hyogo, with the Tigers 8-0 losers in Game 2. The hallowed ground of Koshien played host to Game 3, and after 2 straight 8-0 blowouts, it was high time that a back-and-forth battle that befits Koshien made itself known in this series. Kohei Azuma went for Orix, and Masashi Ito for the home team. With no score in the bottom of the second, Yusuke Oyama led off with a single. The Tigers' foreign star, Sheldon Noisy, notched a single of his own to move Oyama to third for now. Up next was Seishiro Sakamoto, and he proved that any method of run production is a good method of run production. 1-0 Tigers. Despite the 2 blowouts that preceded the game, one fixture of the game so far absent from the series was the home run. But its absence would not be felt for much longer, and when batting champion Yuma Tongu stepped in, he emphatically tied up Game 3 with a bang. 1-1 after 4. In the top of the 5th, 2 no-out base runners again set the table for Taishi Hiraoka, who again proved the unexpected viability of the groundout as a run production method, allowing the Buffaloes to take the lead. Azuma then went to the plate to do his duty, advanced the runners on a sacrifice bunt, but a costly throwing error allowed Azuma to reach base safely. On the edge of a big inning, third baseman Yuma Mude broke the game open with a huge RBI double to bring the score to 4-1 and end Ito's evening. One more run on a sacrifice fly by Kenya Wakatsuki in the 6th off of Colton Brewer would give the visitors a 5-1 lead going into the 7th inning. As it happened, perhaps the sight of thousands of yellow balloons floating into the air during the stretch did the Tigers some good. With renewed vigor, they clawed back into the game. A double, single, and walk from Chikamoto loaded it up for Takemu Nakano. And fortunately for the speedy infielder, his legs turned a groundout into a run to make it 5-2. Rookie outfielder Shota Morishita set the crowd's spirits ablaze with a 2-run single to bring the Tigers within 1. Unfortunately, fireballer Yuki Udagawa stepped out of the Orix bullpen. Udagawa who failed to allow a run in the 2022 championship chase for the Buffaloes, shut the door, quashing the rally and clinching the game for the Buffaloes in a heartbreaker for Hanshin. 5-4 Buffaloes in Game 3, and a series lead was taken by Orix. How evenly matched the Tigers and Buffaloes were shined through in spades all series long, and the pound-for-pound battle continued into Game 4, with Satya Yamazaki going for Orix and Hiroki Saiki for Hanshin. The Tigers would not have to wait long to give run support to their pitcher. In the bottom of the first, with Koji Chikamoto already on base, the rookie Morishita again stepped up in a big moment, and again he delivered. 1-0 Tigers on the Morishita double. The Buffaloes hit back quickly with their superstar catcher at the plate in the top of the second. Kotaro Kurabayashi knocked him in to tie it up at 1 to end the top of the second. Hanshin again responded in kind. With 2 away, shortstop Seiya Kinami singled into the outfield. And, helping his own cause, Saiki drew a walk to bring the red-hot leadoff man Chikamoto to the plate. 2-1 Tigers to end the second. Yamazaki and Saiki marched through 2 innings apiece with zeros on the board. But Yamazaki would leave the game first, with Chikamoto beginning the 5th with a single. But again, the Tigers' speed proved vital in keeping the inning alive, when Nakano scored on a Yusuke Oyama fielder's choice. 3-1 Hanshin. Satya Yamazaki's night was done, and the home team sought to hold the line to tie the series up at 2. They succeeded in doing that for 1 inning. Sato gave to the Buffaloes a base runner to begin the inning to bring a tying run to the plate in the person of another foreign slugger, Leandro Cedeno. It was up to Yuma Mune to clutch up and tie the game for Orix. Daichi Ishii stopped the bleeding on a nightmare inning for Takuma Kirishiki as the 7th ended 3-3. Udagawa silenced the Tigers in the bottom of the 8th. Suguru Iwazaki did the same to the visitors in the top of the 9th. Hoping for extras, American reliever Jacob Waguespack took the mound in the bottom of the 9th. He retired Itohara and Kinami, but Koji Chikamoto drew a 2-out walk to bring the tying run to the plate. Up came Nakano, and a pitch got away from Waguespack. Ball 1, and then again, ball 2. Chikamoto bounced around the bases and put himself in a position to tie 90 feet away on third. Not risking it with the lefty Nakano hitting and the hot-hitting Morishita on deck. 2 straight intentional walks issued by Waguespack passed the baton to Yusuke Oyama. The decision seemed to make sense. Oyama was 1 for 4 that night, whiffing twice in 2 of those at-bats, with the 4th being that fielder's choice from earlier in the game. He hadn't quite hit his stride in this series, or so it seemed. And with 1 swing of the bat, he brought Koshien to a decibel level that every citizen across the prefecture could hear. Tigers walk it off 4-3 to tie the series at 2 in Game 4. Game 5, the final game at Koshien, matched Kotaro Otake for Hanshin against Daiki Tajima, yet another superstar pitcher in the Buffaloes' rotation. A few hits allowed each, were the only inklings of offense to speak of in the first 3 innings, much the same to the rest of the series. Until in the 4th, Marwin Gonzalez did this. 1-0 Buffaloes. Otake left in the 5th, and still no offense for Hanshin. Next up was Tomoya Mori, who hit a ground ball to second base, but much to Tigers fans' dismay, when Nakano went down to field the ball, they began to feel as if a snake had bitten them yet again. 2-0 Buffaloes. Tajima made his exit after 1 more scoreless frame in the 7th. The Tigers came up in the 8th against reliever Soichiro Yamazaki with only 2 runs to score to tie the game, but it seemed like a much larger mountain to climb than it actually was. However, Koshien had just a bit more magic left in store. Getting things started was Seiya Kinami. And then Kenta Itohara, which, yet again, set up a huge RBI opportunity for Koji Chikamoto. Two 1 Buffaloes. Nakano came up next and bunted Chikamoto and Itohara to second and third. 3-2 Tigers. Game 4, Hiro Oyama added one more to defeat Utagawa and end his scoreless streak. 4-2 Tigers in the 8th. Sheldon Noisy walked to set up another rookie in another clutch situation, Seishiro Sakamoto. (6-2 Tigers on the second triple of the inning. That was enough to break the Buffaloes' spirit for now, and Game 5 ended 6-2. With the Tigers now leading the series 3-2, with the Buffaloes on the brink after two tough late-inning defeats in the previous two contests. Yoshinobu Yamamoto was out for redemption after getting hit around in Game 1 and being beaten by Shoki Murakami. To be a truly elite pitcher, you must not only be able to execute every sixth day when you're given the ball, but also rebound quickly, turn mistakes into history, and perform even better than you did last time out. Yamamoto knew this hardly better than anyone, and, out for revenge against Murakami and the Tigers, he took hold of lightning itself and harnessed an all-new postseason gear. Sheldon Noisy came to bat in the second, and took one of Yamamoto's only mistake pitches into the seats for Hanshin's first long ball of the series. The Tigers loaded them up again with the dangerous Chikamoto coming up. With no place to put him, there was no choice but to bear down. And bear down he did. Marwin Gonzalez got on to lead off the second half of the inning, setting up Yutaro Sugimoto, who had had a quiet series so far, to reach second base on the weirdest hit of the whole series. Then both men were knocked in by Kenya Wakatsuki and Keita Nakagawa. 2-1 Orix in the second. 3 runs were obtained to help Yamamoto. The first, a 2-run shot in the 5th by Kotaro Kurabayashi, and another solo shot in the 8th by Yuma Tongu. 5 runs was more than enough for Yamamoto, who, despite allowing 9 hits, completed the game with only 1 run allowed, in a heroic performance that kept the Buffaloes alive just when his team needed it the most. He had been on some bad teams. He had lost a lot of games. A lot of his teammates had moved on, including last year when one of his best friends left for MLB. But he had prevailed through it all. Hard work, injury, defeats aplenty, to become another legendary ace and solidify his future place in the Hall of Fame. 5-1 Buffaloes to end Game 6, tying things up once again and setting up an iconic Game 7. The shadow of the curse of the Colonel, and by extension, Randy Bass, hung over this series for all 7 of its games, as it had for every series the Tigers have found themselves in since '85. Contrary to what the influx of foreign hitters into NPB in the 90s might tell you, Bass was a 1 in a million kind of hitter. The living testament to what having confidence in a player's ability to grow, train hard, and develop will get you. He was a journeyman in MLB in the late 70s and early 80s until he signed with the Tigers in 1983. After a rough debut season, despite pleas to cut him, his coaches stuck with him, and with drive and determination, he reached his potential and became one of the first American players enshrined in the Japanese Baseball Hall of Fame, the second behind another Tigers legend, Henry Wakabayashi. Bass was one of the very best to suit up for Hanshin, and that made his unfair and controversial dismissal sting all the more, and lent credence to how cursed this franchise was after their first and only Japan Series title to that point. Bass, that year, finished with 54 bombs, predictably performed quite well in the battle with the Lions, homering in the first 3 games of the series, with the third coming off of Hall of Famer Kimiyasa Kudo in a losing effort in Game 3. He won himself Series MVP for his trouble, and his performance is regarded as one of the best in Japan Series history. There was no love lost between him and the Tigers after everything that went down, and when Game 7 rolled around, his was one of the loudest cheers to urge them on to win it all. Despite the Kyocera Dome being the scene, Koshien welcomed 12,000 plus to a watch party on the Jumbotron to hopefully watch the Tigers pull it out. It'd be up to Hiroyo Miyagi to win it for Orix. A third of the way through the game, no one had scored. Miyagi took the mound again for the top of the 4th. He surrendered 2 base runners to find himself in a jam, but he found himself staring down an opponent he couldn't help but take a little lighter than he should. Sheldon Noisy, who came to the Tigers from the Oakland Athletics after their infamously awful 2022 season, had bounced around several teams in his MLB career, showing flashes of quality but never enough to lock down a starting role. His debut season in Hyogo had not gone his way either. He was not a man too many Tigers fans were excited to see suit up for them to begin 2023. Perhaps they thought he was just another foreign bust, who the Kansai press called the next Randy Bass. It'd been happening for a while, and the supporters were tired of it. His regular season numbers did not do much to dissuade them of that assessment. However, that home run yesterday had been impressive, and even if his offensive consistency was lacking, his power was not something to trifle with. Akinobu Okada, his manager, knew this all too well, having played alongside a left-handed hitter with a similar base skill set to Noisy. Through it all, he stuck with Sheldon, giving him starts even though his play might not seem like he deserved them, trusting him enough to mature and hone his skills as a ballplayer. His trust was vindicated in Game 6. Very few players go deep off of Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and something told Okada his faith would not be misplaced today either. Now would be a very good time to hit Miyagi hard and try to wrest control of the game's momentum, and he was glad he had a power bat at the plate to do it. Miyagi had a base at which to put Noisy, but he took his chances and began the at-bat. And Noisy, the one-time next Randy Bass, did something the original would be very proud of indeed. In a moment like that, it's hard to not think the series was over. 3 straight RBI singles in the 5th chased Miyagi and allowed Aoyagi and Masashi Ito, who came on in relief, to shut the Orix offense down, but for one more Yumatongu home run in the 9th, sealed a victory for Hanshin that was 38 years in the making, and break the curse of the Colonel. Hard to say which of the organization's 2 titles were sweeter to the players that won them. Was it perhaps that 1985 title that seemed that the ultimate price was paid for it after waiting so long to reach the highest height? Or was it this new victory, one that was the light at the end of a long, dark tunnel of despair the Hanshin Tigers found themselves in for nearly 40 years? Whatever the case, it is hard to ignore the poetic sensibilities of such a stellar series. Seldom do the gods of baseball grant a reprieve from the pain that the fans of unlucky teams suffer. However, it was time for this curse, one that was debatably incited by the foolish actions of certain fans tangentially related to the presence of an enormous American superstar slugger who seemed divinely ordained to guide a long-suffering legendary franchise to its first and maybe only title that supposedly incurred the ire of a fast food icon, which resulted in that same American slugger leaving the team along with many more good players and causing the same cycles of defeat and frustration to continue ad infinitum to end. And, true to poetry, it all ended with a journeyman American slugger catching the final out, a fan in Colonel Sanders cosplay jumping into the Dotonbori Canal, and Suguru Iwazaki being hoisted into the air by his teammates, himself holding aloft the number 24 jersey of his late teammate, Shintaro Yokota. What a wonderful game this is, indeed. Thank you for watching to the end of our special report on the 2023 Japan Series. Please do like and share this video if you enjoyed it, and you know somebody who would enjoy it right along with you. And be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon down below the video screen to be notified every time we upload a new video to get you your fix of the world's greatest game. I've been Marshall Mert. Again, this has been GBN's special report on the 2023 Japan Series. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in the next one, but for now, that's the game. So Tigers fans, since you've earned it, I'll play us out with some Roko Orishi.